Welcome back to Primetime News. Good evening on this bloody Labor Day in Kingston. We begin with news that the security forces have launched a massive offensive in Tivoli Gardens, West Kingston today. As the offensive continues tonight, we understand that there are rising casualties on both sides of the law enforcement and the community. Scores of armed thugs have reportedly been killed in gun battles which reached fever pitch this afternoon as the soldiers penetrated the deepest corners of the community. The military has been given strict orders to take every measure to arrest Tivoli Gardens strongman Christopher Dudus Coke and restore order. In the meantime, reports are coming in that the Coronation Market has been set on fire by thugs who have since retreated into the community. Roadblocks mounted overnight in the Red Hills Road area of St. Andrew have since been cleared, although the police have been periodically engaged in a firefight with gunmen in the area since yesterday evening. Other sections of the corporate area are also tense. Over in East Kingston, there is heavy gunfire near the Rockford police station. In Whitfield Town, several houses were firebombed by criminals and at least 3 persons shot. They have been taken to hospital. Earlier today, there was tension in the Old Capitol as residents attempted to block the flat bridge. However, although they came under heavy fire, the police prevented them from sealing off that road. Police and soldiers reportedly came under fire at the intersection of Walks Road and Brunswick Avenue. Police were also fired on in Dempsey Pen. The country's security forces launched an all-out assault on criminal elements in the West Kingston community of Tivoli Gardens today. The police began moving into the community shortly before midday, and up to news time, the assault was still underway with reports of casualties on both sides. Keneal Gale was in downtown Kingston today as the convoys were being deployed into Tivoli Gardens.
It was clear the activities inside the West Kingston community were about to heat up as army and police personnel got ready to move into Tivoli Gardens. Several convoys with soldiers and police were being deployed from the waterfront in downtown Kingston, and as each contingent left, more army personnel were brought in. The trucks rolled in one after the other with soldiers. JUTC buses driven by soldiers were also used to transport security personnel to the deployment point. The Coast Guard was also on high alert, ensuring that the deployment point was protected from any possible attacks on the Kingston Harbour. The police sealed off Harbour Street, and any vehicle or civilian who ventured close to the deployment point was treated with the utmost scrutiny. As our news team drove through downtown Kingston, the deserted streets and sporadic sounds of gunfire and the occasional explosion painted a grim picture of what was taking place in Tivoli Gardens. It was evident that the security forces had entered the community and the battle with the criminals had begun. Smoke rose from the community as the security operation continued, both on land and in the air. Our news team could not get into Tivoli Gardens, but our news centre received numerous calls, mostly from women, claiming to be in Tivoli Gardens and Denham Town, who said their houses were being bombed by the security forces. The callers said they heard several loud explosions followed by tremors. The women said they were caught in a crossfire between the armed forces and gunmen.
I can hear bombs, and I can hear can dropping on my house. My house shake twice. I'm inside with my kids. My son caused me to cry because he wanted to come out. They said they sent bus for us yesterday. We could not come out in those shootings. There's no way I would leave my house to go on a bus. And it's getting worse. I never know that in the Jamaica Labour Party that I would be facing this today. And I really pray that somebody would find the love in their heart and stop this right now. It is just too much, my brother. We are good people. I don't know if you can hear the shooting. I'm on the floor. Yeah, this is what I said. Yes. People are screaming, bombs is dropping. Oh my God.
There were also reports that the Kingston Public Hospital was under immense pressure as medical personnel struggled to cope with the number of trauma cases that were coming into the facility. There is also a strong security presence at the hospital, as the KPH was one of the institutions downtown which came under heavy gunfire yesterday when the violence started. Keneal Gale, TVJ News.
And we have since received a report from the Jamaica Constabulary Force about that operation. It says earlier today the security forces launched an operation in Tivoli Gardens and surrounding areas of West Kingston. This joint police-military operation is aimed at executing a warrant issued by the courts of Jamaica for the arrest of Michael Christopher Coke, otherwise called Dudus, as well as to restore the area to stability after 3 consecutive days of barricading by criminal elements and wanton attacks on the police force. During the operation, 7 members of the security forces were injured. 6 of the 7 were shot. 1 succumbed to his injuries. The other was injured in an accident. The release says the operation is still ongoing and the security forces are resolute in bringing the area to stability so that law-abiding citizens of Western Kingston and its environs can get on with their lives in peace. The security forces are reminding residents of Kingston and St. Andrew that there is a limited state of emergency in effect and residents are asked to remain indoors. At a release there from the Jamaica Constabulary Force. And our media house has also come under pressure. The RGR group, of which TVJ is a part, received word from the police force today that there is a specific and credible threat to the company's operations and its staff. The group is taking very seriously the threat, even as its team tries to provide balanced and responsible coverage of the present situation to the Jamaican public. The management of the RGR group, which operates TVJ, says it's unfortunate that in this stressful environment there is this added burden for its employees to handle. The threat and the hostility towards our news team have also impaired some efforts to cover the conflict on the ground. The RGR group says it will do all it can to keep Jamaicans informed under these difficult circumstances. It says security has also been increased as a result of the threat. And we understand that Prime Minister Bruce Golding has called a meeting of the National Security Council to assess the situation. However, when we turned up at Vale Royal, where the meeting was purported to be held, we were turned back by members of the Police Protective Services. We were told that only members of the security forces and the cabinet are allowed at Vale Royal at this time. The state of emergency the country has been under since 6 p.m. yesterday is expected to be discussed in that meeting as well. Meanwhile, the violence was not confined to West Kingston. Security forces came under heavy gunfire on Red Hills Road in St. Andrew today. Nadine McLeod has that story.
Moments after they arrived on Red Hills Road, the officers got a message from the High Command on the police radio, giving them the go-ahead to take quick and decisive action to protect themselves if set upon by thugs.
Do not hesitate to respond quickly and take decisive action when attacked by these criminals, as it is now patently clear that they are hell-bent on causing mayhem in the society by their calculated, vile and cold actions against police personnel. Police personnel have the full backing of the police high command to any response to protect themselves, their colleagues and the law-abiding citizens of Jamaica.
The police soon set about clearing roadblocks along Red Hills Road in the vicinity of Casamuda Avenue. But the criminal elements on Red Hills Road weren't about to let them do it. They had just started to clear the roadblocks when... And in the midst of the heavy gunfire, the security forces had to tell people to get off the streets. In the end, the police managed to clear the roadblock on Red Hills Road. Nadine McLeod, TVJ News.
And the violence has also spread into neighboring St. Catherine. Over the last 24 hours, gunmen have been engaging the police in a series of gun battles. They also tried to block a few major thoroughfares. Latoya Spence reports.